Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris. Not with me right now is other Chris, my son, Chris Jr., the inferior Chris. We'd like to thank the 7 of you that actually watch this stuff. We appreciate it. Once again, I want to remind you that we are not YouTube content creators. I work a couple hundred hours a month. We do this when we get a chance. So thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Anyway, so I'm here with our project piece of Stang, Chris Jr.'s 1982 Ford Mustang GT. And today I'm going to be just playing around with the spark, the tune, the timing, the fuel, see if I can get it to run right. It has not been running very well lately. It runs like a beast, just full wide open throttle once it gets going, but it's not lighting up the tires like it was. When you nail it from zero throttle to full throttle, there's a hard miss, and then it stutters a little, then it goes, and then it pulls really strong, but it's just not running like it's supposed to run. It's not being itself, and it's not running the way we want, and it's kind of annoying to drive. So I'm just going to kind of play around with it and see if I can get it to run properly, and just more carburetor, timing, fuel pressure, spark, ignition, experimentation, just see if I can get it back to running the way it was. So join me and watch my stupidity. I'm going to play with Junior's car some more today. It has been running like absolute garbage. So I'm going to start by pulling the plugs. I'm going to check every spark plug wire, readjust the timing, reset the carburetor back to where it needs to be, and see what I can do to get this thing to run normally. It's been pretty bad again lately. Here's the first spark plug. That looks super lean to me. I don't know about you guys, but that looks really lean to me. At idle, it smells really fat and rich, but we have a pretty hard miss under full throttle. It starts to miss hard, and then it pulls pretty well after that. But I've been wondering if that was a lean stumble, and I think it is with that spark plug. That's about the opposite. I actually thought I might have a rich fat condition. I definitely need to get an AFR gauge, but I just don't have it right now. All the plugs are out now. I've swapped them all out. They all looked about the same. They weren't horrible, but they weren't great. Hoping I can figure out this, what I think is a lean condition. Keeping them as backups just in case we break one or something. They're in a box in the trunk of the car. They were still usable and they're still running, but I'm going to see if this helps any. I've also decided to go ahead and temporarily hook up our new DuraSpark box. It's just hanging there. The factory one is still down there. I'm just going to see if that makes any difference. I don't suspect the DuraSpark box, but I've got this sitting around, so I'm just going to try it out and see what happens. First things first, let's see if it starts up with the new plugs in the new DuraSpark box. Alright, definitely started up, but there's definitely no reason for it to be at 400 or 500 RPMs. That is different. Next up, I'm going to reset the carburetor. Make sure my transfer slots are in the right spot. You'll notice I have a zip tie here. I lost the little clip that goes here. Yep, I've got new ones on order. It fell down into the abyss that is an air gap intake and disappeared. Can't find it, even with the magnet. But I have new ones on order. But I'm just going to take the whole carburetor off, and I'm going to adjust the choke now that it's 80+ degrees in Texas every day, apparently. So I'm going to set it up for warm weather and reset my transfer slots, and then reset the timing and see if that makes any difference. You can see the bottom of the carburetor. It's kind of blackened. Had a couple of backfires here lately. I'm guessing it's a lean condition. So the transfer slots weren't too bad. I'm going to start with them a little more open. I'm going as deep into the transfer slots as I can with the highest idle I can to start, rather than starting with these a perfect square, which is a little bit higher. I opened them up as far as I could. I'm going to start there for an idle and look for an idle from there and see if I can get this thing to run properly. I'm also setting the accelerator pump to the richest, fattest setting. And I'm going to put another zip tie on it to hold it. So I've got 2 or 3 more days until my new clips come in. Finally got the accelerator pump adjusted with the zip tie. It's a little more difficult in the top setting than the middle or bottom setting, but it has a full range of motion. It's going back and forth into place, and the rod is staying where it's supposed to. All right, the carburetor's back on. Let's see if we can get it to start. It's going to take a second because there's no fuel in the fuel lines or the carburetor. Oh, huh. All right, residual fuel. Come on, fuel pump. Well, that's extreme. Never taken this long before. Let's go see if we're building fuel pressure. We did not build fuel pressure. That's not good. According to the gauge, we don't have any fuel pressure, but there was some fuel coming into the carburetor, so I think we're about there. Huh. All right. That's actually a pretty healthy sounding 700 idle right there. Ooh, nope. Ooh, backfiring badly. Not good. Not sure you can see that, but for some reason our timing is at 10, maybe 12 degrees. Not sure why that is. And that backfire you heard upon startup blew the cap off of the ported vacuum over here. That's not good. I don't know where that cap went. I don't even see it. We're now running 16, maybe 18 degrees of timing. And I say maybe because these old balancers, they're not exactly pinpoint accurate. We're in that neighborhood. I guess we'll see how this does. It's holding a healthy 900 RPM idle, and I haven't adjusted anything. So the idle's a little high, but I'm not even going to play with it. I normally prefer it 700 range, but it's holding steady 950 to 1000. This is probably the smoothest idle it's had in a long time. So I don't know if those plugs are just that bad and just weren't up to the task or what. We'll go test drive it here in a little bit, and I'm gonna go pick up my son. I did not like that. When I shut it off, it definitely had a shudder and a diesel to it. Let's see if it'll restart. I don't like that either. It's a really, really hard restart. Sounds like the timing might be a little too high. Guess we'll figure it out when we drive it. I completely forgot about the air-fuel mixture screws on the carburetor. So I richened it up a little bit. I brought the idle down about 100 RPMs. And it does this now. Oh, well, never mind. It was instant firing there for a little bit, but the idle's down a little bit, but now we've got a little bit of a shudder to it. It doesn't really like the fatter idle. So confusing. We're back to a shudder, and all I did was fatten up the idle a little bit. Guess I need to lean it back out. All right, leaned out the idle just a little bit more, brought the RPM up just a little more. The shudder is better than it was, probably half. Idle's holding steady, revs freely. So I'm just gonna leave it as is and go test drive it. It's been a little over half an hour since I messed with the car. I went and changed. Now it's time to go get Junior. Let's see how it starts. Still kicking back against the starter a little bit. I'm not sure why. I even lowered the timing just a little. I tried it at 14 and 18 and 20 and just kind of playing around with it. It seems to kick back against the starter no matter what I do. Maybe that's just the starter going out. I don't know. Hope not. But it's definitely smoother just rolling through the neighborhood. The little hesitation and idle little surge and buck we were having is gone. So maybe the spark plugs were just having that much trouble. I don't know. It's running really smoothly here in the neighborhood, and it hasn't been bad at low idle or low throttle, but it hasn't been great. So it has had a miss lately down low too. It was not on camera, but I just had a backfire about half throttle a second ago. I don't know what's up with that. Backfiring and missing, but it's leveled out now. I'm about to pick up the boy, and hopefully we'll get to do a little bit harder test drive and see how it's really going to perform. Look who's finally back from getting an education. I've been trying to tell him for a while the only education he needs is a wrench, but for some reason he keeps going back to public school. Got a new issue that hadn't been an issue before. I don't know if it's the DuraSpark box or what, but tack is now skipping. We have a slight miss at wide open throttle, completely different than the previous miss that we had. It's no longer the big hesitation and the surge and it goes. Now it's just like being on a kind of a rev limiter. It's going up and you can just see the tack kind of struggling to go up. We've got some kind of electrical miss. I guess I'm going to go back and plug in that DuraSpark box, original one, and see if that fixes it. The big, huge miss that we had isn't there. It's a little different now. That's definitely responding off idle a lot better. That's a good thing. Alright, I ditched the new DuraSpark box. For all I know, it's completely fried. Who knows? Going back with the old one, since this is a completely different type of miss. Hey, wait a minute. Found that vacuum cap from earlier. Anyway, going back to the old DuraSpark box and see if the tachometer is still missing. I rechecked grounds and everything, and the engine feels better. But the tachometer is skipping around over 4,000, and I can't help but think that's going to be an ignition thing, and that probably not the autometer tack. The tack is not jumping around or skipping now with the old DuraSpark box in, at least not at idle. Just a little bit ago, it was getting up to 4,000, and it was skittering and jumping, and the engine just had an ever so slight miss. So I've double checked everything under the hood. Let's go see how it runs. Forgot to mention earlier that DuraSpark box was hot. Like hot to the touch. Hotter than the rest of this stuff. So, not sure what's going on with it. That's not good. That could be a problem. I've only got 3 to 3.5 pounds of fuel pressure. The regulator's cranked all the way up. Brand new mechanical fuel pump. Just to be safe, I disconnected the regulator and hooked the fuel line directly to the carburetor with the fuel gauge. I'm still only getting 3.5 psi at idle. not good. I don't know what's going on there. I'm wondering if we're running out of fuel at wide open throttle. Yeah, I'm not getting much fuel pressure. Let's go drive and see what happens. The boy had schoolwork to do, so I'm going to go out and test drive it. Not sure what's going on. We got rid of our hard miss, where the car felt like it almost shut down for half a second before going. And now we've got a steadier, longer, slower miss. Checked all the wiring under the hood. I'm hoping it's just that Duraspark box is no good. And then putting the old one back on it will fix that. Let's go see. Yeah, I guess. Guessing that old Duraspark box may have been shot. As long as it keeps running like this, I'm going to be happy. I'll just check the spark plugs from time to time and see what's going on with them. But right this moment, I think I'm pretty much done. This is about as good as I can hope out of this car, I think. Cruising third gear. Yep, pulling strong. Isn't skipping anymore. Pulling pretty strong, so I like the way it's running right now. If the boy was here, he would say it's running better than it's ever run, which we tend to say a whole lot, and then we eat those words immediately. I eat those words immediately because I'm the one who always says it, because I'm the one doing most of the tuning and trying to teach him and doing a really bad job of it. But right now it's running really, really well. Very strong. That's what I want out of this car. Here lately, being in 5th gear at 55 miles per hour and trying to accelerate is an absolute nightmare. Absolutely horrible. It would shudder and shake and barely move, and now pulling nice and smooth. There's 55 to 75. Really, really smooth. And Deputy Sheriff. They kept going, good. So the takeaway from all this is, or what I'm going to take away from all this is that the plugs were just bad, and that's probably all I need to do. I probably just need to change the plugs, but I want to do everything else just to be sure. I forgot to take video of it, but the fuel pressure's back up to 4.5, which is where I want it, which is really weird. I don't know why I was doing that earlier. The regulator works. The fuel pump just at times, I guess it's the temperature of the gas, which is why we installed the fuel return. But this thing's running like a rock star now. This is how we want it to run. Here lately we've been driving it a whole lot, but it hasn't been a very fun experience. It's been kind of crappy. We have not enjoyed ourselves at all. It's constant hard miss, and you never know what it was going to do. And if it'll keep running like this, we'll both be very happy. We'll start driving it even more. And also, I'm guessing that the reason it was fat at idle before is because the plugs were so inefficient they weren't burning enough gas. Because now there's no odor, there's no puff, there's no nothing coming out the tailpipes, whereas before there definitely was. In fact, you could actually just, you could just, like vapors, you could just fan them into your mouth and you could almost like soup. There's so many fuel vapors at idle. And I thought, well, it's running really fat. Well, it was running really fat at idle, I guess, because the plugs weren't burning enough fuel efficiently, and it was lean everywhere else. And not sure what to do about the lean everywhere else, because I didn't change a whole lot today. So I guess we'll just hope and pray for the best, and I'll keep an eye on these plugs and see what happens. Bye.